I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Brian Wilson.
I want to recognize Attorney General Doug Gansler, who I spoke with earlier today, and Delegate Heather Mazier for their efforts and their contributions. And I want to invite the voters who supported them, who really want to see real change in our state, to consider joining with us.
That was Larry Hogan, the man who has just been nominated to be the GOP gubernatorial candidate in the state of Maryland, asking supporters of Gansler and Mazur to cross party lines and support his candidacy. Larry Hogan joins us now on the line to talk about his election in the primary and also what he does going forward. Congratulations, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, so look, at this juncture, what you have is you have to do two things. You got to tell people why you are the guy and why Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown is not the guy. So first, let me start with why should voters consider you to be the next governor of the state of Maryland?
Well, I'm a small businessman. I'm not a politician, but I was just fed up with the direction of our state, the fact that we had 40 consecutive tax hikes and it was crushing middle-class families. So I started a group called Change Maryland. It's the largest grassroots organization in state history. We've got 100,000 people who are really looking to change things in Annapolis, and that's what our whole campaign's all about. I served 4 years as a cabinet secretary, but for the most part, my entire life has been spent in the private sector, and I think I could do a good job of running state government.
All right, so why should voters walk away from Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown?
Well, the O'Malley-Brown administration has increased spending by $10 billion and raised 40 taxes that have caused our economy to go in the tank. We've lost 6,500 small businesses, over 80,000 more jobs. Unemployment's up 76%, and our state is just way off track economically. So there's a clear difference between Anthony Brown and I, and I think a majority of Marylanders are looking for new leadership in Annapolis.
So, Larry Hogan, I think that obviously, I think a lot of people think that a Republican winning statewide in Maryland faces an uphill battle. Clearly, you were reaching out to Democrats last night when you talked about Doug Gansler. And it seemed to me Doug Gansler, he ran against Anthony Brown's failed approach to Medicaid with the state Medicaid system, Obamacare system. And also, Doug Gansler, the Democrat, was saying that Marylanders are taxed too much. So there's some voters there that voted for him and liked that message. How are you going to get to them?
Well, those are the folks we've been focused on already in the campaign. So our campaign strategy is not going to change much, and the message doesn't change much. Doug Gansler and I were saying a lot of the same things, actually. He was highlighting some of the same things that we've been talking about for 3 years. So we have a solid majority of Republicans that are pretty excited about the race. We're doing very well among independents, and I think there's a large chunk of disaffected Democrats who also believe that the state is pretty far off track. The latest polls show us down to single digits on Anthony Brown, and we haven't even started the general election race. So it's the first time any Republican has been that close since Bob Ehrlich was elected governor in 2002.
Well, I think that's very interesting. But you said in your statement last night that you spoke to Doug Gansler. What did you talk about?
Well, actually, we talked during the day. We were working at the same precinct. So, I just ran into Doug, and we had a nice chat. I wished him good luck, and he congratulated me. So I guess he saw that we were looking like we were going to win a pretty big victory.
Well, I mean, do you really think that you could get some of those people who supported, Gansler and Jolene Ivey?
I would imagine that most of the people that supported Doug Gansler decided that they didn't want to continue with the same leadership, didn't want to continue heading in the same direction, and they were listening to his message, which was almost exactly the same as ours. In fact, his economic plan, he cited my group Change Maryland as the source of all the information. So, we expect to compete very effectively with Democrats. And, I started this group Change Maryland. We have 100,000 people involved. It's a nonpartisan group, and nearly half of them are Democrats and independents. So that's exactly the type of coalition we're going to have to build to win in Maryland.
Let me ask you this, because I think a lot of people are looking to find differences, stark differences between yourself and Anthony Brown, who, frankly, the way he ran his primary campaign, he's just trying to play out the clock here. He thinks it's a done deal. So a lot of people think that you have some abilities to actually make some inroads. The immigration issue.
He said last week that he said that he was quoted as saying, well, the primary is really the issue, but then we just have a little bit of a molehill to get over.
Oh,
So
see, there you go.
So are you a molehill or are you a mountain, Larry Hogan?
We're going to turn it into a mountain, and he really is going to have. I think the people of Maryland deserve to have a real clear choice for a change. We need a healthy and competitive and strong two-party system in our state. This arrogant monopoly is just expecting him to be anointed, and we're going to run hard and give him the toughest race he's ever had.
Let me ask you an issue that a lot of people are thinking about. It doesn't seem like it's a specific issue to Maryland because we're not a border state, but that has to do with immigration and what's going on down at the border with this humanitarian crisis and the refugees. There was talk a couple of weeks ago about airlifting some of these illegal immigrants and putting them in Baltimore. That's been put on hold, but as governor, would you stand up to President Obama and Health and Human Services and saying, listen, this is a federal problem, this is not Maryland's problem, and you'll protect the sovereignty of Maryland against federal desires to bring these refugees to our state?
Well, there's no question that immigration is a federal problem, and it's been a failure, quite frankly, of the president and the Congress to come up with any kind of border security or any kind of a comprehensive plan for immigration. But Maryland is in such terrible financial straits right now. I mean, we've just passed these 40 consecutive tax hikes that are crushing middle-class families, and we can't spend money on things like that. I mean, obviously, people are concerned about the immediate needs of these. There's health problems, and we want to make sure these kids are taken care of short term. But we don't want to be bringing them into the state of Maryland on a permanent basis.
So here's what your opponent said last night when he accepted the Democratic nomination.
Will we give in to those tired and failed policies of making life harder for Maryland's working families? Or do we invest in good schools, affordable college, build on attracting quality jobs in a competitive economy right here in Maryland? That's what we do, and that's what we're going to do together.
I got to say, I'm sort of astonished by that. Will we give in to those tired and failed policies of making life harder for Maryland's working families? Well, who has been in charge of the government of the state of Maryland?
Well, it's funny, that line should have been in my speech.
Yeah, exactly.
The failed policies of the O'Malley-Brown administration is what's caused so much difficulty for hardworking families. You know, unemployment is up 76%. We're second in the nation in foreclosures. We've lost 6,500 businesses and 80,000 jobs under O'Malley-Brown. So he has been making it really tough. We've been squeezing middle-class families. The O'Malley-Brown tax increases have caused the average middle-class family to spend $4,600 more per year just for the increases in taxes. So I agree with what he was saying last night. Unfortunately, he's been causing the problems rather than solving the problems.
All right. Well, listen, the best of luck to you. We really wish you all the best.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for giving me the opportunity this morning.
Don't be a stranger, Larry Hogan. And also, you might want to use that audio from Anthony Brown in one of your ads about those.
Sounds good. Good idea, guys.